evening, brothers and sisters. So happy we pushed through to get to the last show that we'll be doing today to be able to explain who killed Minister Malcolm X and why was he killed. We certainly need to be discussing that. We have that book. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the feed how you can get it, the information on that. I think that would be good to put it in, and that way you'll have access to the same information that we have. Access to the very, very, very same information that we have, which is our works, our books, and our research. Well, thank you for abiding this time with me, and all of y'all that have been faithful, both on and off YouTube. And sisters, you know what we're trying to do, up and running. So we need you stop spending that money on. Yeah, that's what I call McDonald's, McGronald's, and Burger King, Murder King. Stop spending that money on them, and plant some money where your people can push out products, right? And we can build up the black community. So that's my encouragement to you. It's my encouragement. So you know you can get these books. Get all books on our research. Put that in there. That way you'll know where to go and get it. You can certainly get these books. You can have these books. All right. So you have that information. Also, I'm organizing now to get to certain states. If you want me to come to your state, welcome me there. And you and I will organize how to get me there. We'll also organize how to get information out to the individuals, because I think that we'd better get this knowledge out to our brothers and sisters. Go to the colleges. We'll also come to the local churches. We'll come to the community centers to be able to speak on this knowledge. It has to be put out. We need to put this out while Farrakhan is alive, brothers and sisters, because we've got to study, right? Put this information out and study the mass of people. You'll see the minute that we have an understanding of this cycle and the habits of Judases and their financiers, right? Financiers, then we'll understand how to move in the future. That's the purpose. We'll understand. We'll have some understanding of how to move in the future. You and I will. So I'm very happy to be in this place and this time in history right now. There's nothing that better, nothing more that I'd rather do than be doing this and speak to you and spending time with you to put out this information. So I'm very thankful. So we'll just wait on whomever else will comment. I'll make sure we put some other things in the section so that you'll have those things. Don't forget good health, brothers and sisters. We need that too. We need to have good health. So we want you to be healthy. We want you around. We don't want you away. We want you around. We need everybody that we can get. So invest in your health. Right? We got things up here that you can get. Don't forget to email me. If you email me, then I'll know exactly what you want. I'll be checking the email to see, so we're able to get those things out to you. Maybe we'll be able to, if I can get, there we go. Get this pen up top so you'll know that the books are there, so you'll be able to go and get the two. All right. I believe if we use those two links, we can get to everything that we want to get to. We use those two links. I believe we can get to everything that we're trying to get to. So we'll all right. So be sure to chime in, whatever you would like to say. This is something that we have to do together. We've got to teach each other together. If you have any information, I'm willing to know that too. I'm willing to know that too, and I think it's good that we're all teaching one another together. Iron sharpens iron, brothers and sisters. I don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything, but I know what I know because I put research into it. So I know that, but I don't profess to know everything. There may be some smaller things I may have spoken over that you see. So I ask that you work to put that thing, the things that you remember and things that you think are valid, put it up before us. Put those things up before us so that we'll have the same knowledge. I know one thing, we got to work overtime for this enemy because he don't sleep. Right? Satan is your enemy. Satan is your enemy. He's the enemy of black people and the enemy of white people. Is that right or wrong? So we got to work overtime to make sure that we're putting fire on this satanic behind of the true devil. Isn't that right? You and I have to work overtime to do that. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to work overtime. That's why I'm working so hard. Make sure that we can be an example and example to the generations coming, because we want them to keep up our work, brothers and sisters. We want them to keep up our work. We don't want them to get tired. We want them to keep up our work. So again, I'm excited, very much excited for the work that we're doing. Don't forget that Ramadan is coming up for all of the Muslims. The Christians, it would hurt you to wouldn't hurt you to fast either. To push the chicken back, push the pork chop back, and all of that. It wouldn't hurt you to fast. To all the Christians out there, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. I didn't say that pork was from the enemy. You should already know that. You know it's from the enemy. But what I did say was you should push back the plate. Push it back. It's not going to hurt you to push it back. And just wait till sundown to get you something to eat. So eating once a day is stronger to the body. Purifies the body much more for you to eat once a day. Right? So you're not fighting a bunch of illness and sickness inside of the body. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has a book called Eat to Live. And if any of you want that book, if any of you want the book, Eat to Live, you send it in the comment sections and we'll make sure that you get it. Donate to us. We'll make sure that you get the book, Eat to Live, because I think it's a book that everyone should have. Every house, no matter what the house is, no matter what the origin of the house is, should have the book, Eat to Live. Yes, should have that book, because that book will keep you safe and the book will keep you healthy. That's what we need. We need some safe and healthy people. We need safe people and we need healthy people. So how to eat to live, right? Because you should be eating to live and not living to eat. Isn't that right? For that reason, we have so much obesity. We have a whole lot of obesity in our homes and on our job. Isn't that right? We have a lot of obesity. So we've got to get away from that. We've got to do better when we've learned better. When we learn better, we got to do better. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? That once we learn better, we got to do better. That's what you and I have to do. You can't expect Biden to get you out of this. He's not going to get you out of this. I keep telling you, you're going to figure it out. That a fox and a wolf, both of them are from the same canine family. Isn't that right? That's all I'm saying. A fox and a wolf are both from the same canine family. They're both canine. They both have the same appetites, but they both run in different packs, but they both have the same appetite. So that's just something for you to remember, that the fox and the wolf are both from the canine family. Both are from the canine family. So brothers and sisters, just remember that. So we'll have the discussing now the epilogue in front of us. And what is the epilogue? Epilogue is a series of events. For this case, a series of events leading to the death of an individual. So our subject is Minister Malcolm X. Our subject is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We'll be talking about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad after we cover these teaching of Minister Malcolm. And we'll be doing it in that order for a reason, because then you'll begin to see who the main target was. And what they did was they took your intelligence and dropped in a bunch of dirt, mental dirt. Because if you understand, the Nation of Islam was built in America as a result of racism, as a result of racist religion. Isn't that right? As a result of slavery and oppression. And they took that and tried to match that with international Islam, where they're still practicing racism, religious oppression, where they're fighting slavery, right? And bondage from the white man. So it's still the same. Still the same. The Arabs practice racism. They practice xenophobia. Isn't that right? They practice that. There's no way. It was the Arabs that committed the slave trade. A lot of you know that. The Arabs, they started the slave trade. So you can't expect that they change. Huh? This is where they were the predecessors to the Europeans. Huh? The predecessors to the Europeans. So you can't expect that they've changed, brothers and sisters. Is that right or wrong? So we have to understand exactly what's going on. We can't, and one thing we can't do is lie to ourselves. We can't lie to ourselves. We got to be honest. We got to be truthful to us. We have to be. You got to be truthful to yourself. You can lie to everyone else except yourself. You got to be truthful. And I tell you something too. Anyone that starts something and you don't finish it, you'll never finish anything. The thing that separates individuals that are successful or that have made marks other than anyone else is the fact that they're willing to complete whatever they start at any cost. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was willing to complete what he had started. For that reason, the nation still lives. For that reason, the nation still exists. I want you to understand that. It's important that you understand that if you're going to understand the history of your oppression. And I have to say that because, again, the Nation of Islam, with the exception of Garveyism, was the complete answer to the fulfillment of prophecy through the black man. Right? And we could still have it, but we got someone and some people in the way that loves money. They love money, right? More than themselves, more than God. Right? And God said, how can you love me, whom you never seen, and hate your brother whom you see daily? This is true teaching. See? And not only in the nation was was this curveball thrown, because it wasn't in the nation prior to being thrown. But you see it in the Christian movement every day, because you got a lot of them say they're Christian, but they don't practice it. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? They say they are, but they don't practice it. So they not all. I'm not saying all, but you know, we're gonna have this on the cast one day. If you had 1 million bees in the center of 1 billion bees, and somebody with a bee uniform on told you don't run because all of those bees may not have stingers, and said that may be 1 million bees within those billion bees that don't have stingers. Brothers and sisters, you'll be out of your mind waiting around to see which bee don't have a stinger and getting stung all along. You'll be out of your mind. I'm just telling you how insane that sounds. And that's what I feel when it's, well, all are not that way. I'm not going to wait around and see which one is not that way, brothers and sisters. We don't have to discuss the one that's not that way, because I'm not going to wait around for them to hurt me before I understand this rarity of the white buffalo, the pink elephant. You understand what I'm saying? Because our whole discussion is racism. We can't overlook that. That's a discussion, and how it is oppression to any black organization that seeks to rise. But you can't blame the white man for blacks killing black people. You may blame him overtly. You may even blame him covertly, but you can't blame him personally, because he has to have a Judas that would do his will. He has to have a Judas that would do his master's will. I hope you're praying with me, brothers and sisters, because I'm really teaching now. If we could have been out of this Egypt, out of the desert in between Egypt and the promised land, and in the promised land, could have been in it a long, long time ago, if individuals love liberation more than they love their life. If they love liberation more than their life, if they love God more than their life, then we could have been free. We would have made the necessary sacrifices. But some people are saying, well, brother, that's dangerous. Someone's going to get killed. I said, brother, this is a revolution. This is a revolution. You're in a revolution whether you accept it or not. It doesn't take a holiday because you're involved in it and you don't feel like working that day. If you decide to stay in the bed, the world and the blueprint of what's set to bring about certain change is going to happen, whether you are in it or not, whether you would risk battle or not, whether you would risk war or not. The world is not going to stop because you're tired. And we're in this world, but we're not of this world. We're in it, but we're not of it. And you can't love the things of this world and also say that you love God. You can't do it. It won't work. It won't work. So we've got work to do. We've got real work to do. And this discussion has to be had. I don't mind having the discussion because it's a discussion. It must be had. It must be had. The discussion has to be had. So I don't mind. I don't mind. Our problem is that we don't want to step on anyone's toes. We don't want to step on anyone's toes. That's our main problem, is that we don't want to do it. Brothers and sisters, you'll never get anywhere. And nice people will never get anything. Will never get it. You have to stand for something. That's all I'm telling you. You have to stand for something. You'll never get anywhere being nice. If you're hungry and you don't even have bread, nobody will know it if you don't tell. If you don't say anything about it, no one will know it. I'm just letting you know the way it goes. This is the way of the world. If you don't express your grievances, no one will know it. No one will know it. And there are foolish people out there, and I'm telling you this right now, that will defend Minister Farrakhan, who needs no defense. He needs no defense, but he has to be willing to explain, at least explain what's going on or what is happening. He has to explain it. He has to explain it. It's his place. It's his place to explain it. So he has to explain what's going on. And I tell you, I keep telling you, if we only do right, if we would do right, we could have freedom tomorrow. If we'll do it. If we'll do it. We won't do it because we're afraid of offending someone. Well, I don't want Farrakhan mad with me, so I'm not going to touch on that. I'm not going to touch on that because I want him upset with me. And they'll go to the next person. You hear what he said about Minister Farrakhan? Now they're in there listening and agreeing the entire time. And they'll leave and say, did you hear what he said about Minister Farrakhan? I don't know what's going on with Minister Mauricelm-Lei. What he got in it, what he's got out for Farrakhan. I don't have anything out for Farrakhan. But I want and feel like that we should have the discussion. The discussion should be had about where we are and how we've gotten here. That discussion should be had. It must be had, and we won't get anywhere until it is had. And I know that. Anybody with any sense would know it. Other than that, we'll continue to fall into the same ditch because it's the blind leading the blind. And we need to stop lying to ourselves, stop accepting the lies of the government. The men that were convicted for killing Minister Malcolm, all of them were involved. Every last one of them were involved. But now as time has progressed, now they're saying that they weren't involved. They're saying that they weren't involved. All of them that had an open discussion was involved in the killing of Minister Malcolm. That's a fact. That's a fact. We have to admit that to ourselves. Stop giving people a pass. Stop lying for people. There's nothing in the world worse than somebody lying for someone. Nothing in the world is worse than somebody doing that. Stop lying for these brothers. They were in there talking about the death of Minister Malcolm, right? And you had Wallace, Waradeen Muhammad, and Farrakhan, among many other Muslims, carrying the bone. They were carrying the bone. They had those talking about, well, I don't believe they had anything to do with the death. Why not? They've already admitted that they had something to do with it. The purpose of it was to break up the Nation of Islam. That was the purpose of it. You won't change that, brothers and sisters. You won't change that. Nobody will change that. Farrakhan, if he wanted to, couldn't go back and take that back because he admitted it on Mike Wallace in front of the Adela, which is the oldest daughter of Minister Malcolm. Not only that, he said it inside of the Nation. Not only that, prior to that, he continued to say it. He never reached out to help. This man that said he loved Minister Malcolm and his family, he never reached out to help them, not even behind the scenes. Not even behind the scenes did he do anything to help that family. I would have had at least some respect for him had he done that. Had he done that, had he behind the scenes said, I'm going to do something to help this family because I put them in the situation that they're in. I open my mouth. The man hasn't done diddly. One time he raised money for a situation that he probably created himself because they had to make Farrakhan relevant when they said that Minister Malcolm's daughter wanted him. Who wouldn't want him killed? If you're responsible, sharing the responsibility of my father's death and much more. There are women that miss the protection and love of their father who was heavily involved in their life. Who wouldn't want you killed? Some of your own people probably wanted you killed. For that, he wasn't worried about the government killing him because he did the job for the government. And other Muslims who were misled. Farrakhan was young. He made mistakes. But instead of admitting to the mistake, instead of admitting that he helped organize the death of Minister Malcolm, with Minister Malcolm's wife present and the children present, instead of admitting that, instead of sitting down and having a fireside chat with just black people, not talking about the white man and in front of Mike Wallace, that's safe, but in front of black people, and explaining it in a way such that we wouldn't take that path anymore. Instead of him doing that, he loosened himself from it and said the words that I spoke were complicit. No, you helped organize the debt too, and the government knows it. Yeah, they know it. We got to speak truth. But our problem is that we don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to speak on Farrakhan. Why? Because Farrakhan is popular. He's popular because the government gave him that position. When you do a job for the government, his job was to see through several assassinations, to carry subversive material to divide the Nation of Islam, along with Wallace Waradeen Muhammad, along with National Press Secretary John Ali, along with Captain Joseph, right? Along with these individuals. That was the job. And to divide that nation into what we see today. And there is literally denominations amid the Nation of Islam today, where all of them do not teach the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have those that want to be in the position of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I say that to say this. You can't rule out. You can't rule out the killing of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad after the open killing of Minister Malcolm X. And there's 10 years in between the killing of Minister Malcolm X and the killing of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And both of those deaths happened in February. One on February the 21st, 1965. The next one happened February the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was killed February the 23rd, 1975. Another avid supporter of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was also talking about independent communalism, was Reverend Albert Cleage, who was a friend of Minister Malcolm X, who warned Minister Malcolm about Farrakhan, what he was doing. Albert Cleage was killed February the 20th, 2000, and there was one likened unto Malcolm, the Most Honorable Khalid Abdul Muhammad. We give him that title because the brother stood as a Muslim and stood in the power of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the works of Minister Malcolm was Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. He died February the 18th, 2001. So I want you to look at that. Each of these deaths happened in February. Each of these deaths happened in February. There were other families and members of the nation that stood for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that was also killed in the month of February. After that, the women leaders of the nation were many of them passed. And we don't have proof of their death, but I'm telling you, anyone influential, the government is not going to have in front of you. Those individuals passed in opposite months, opposite of February, much more like August, some of them in September, the others in December. I'm just letting you know. So we have to understand what's going on within our community. And this is ugly. This is the ugly side of our community. Right? But nonetheless, it's the truth. So these, you can get the same material that I have and research, the very same material. Lance Shabazz would agree. There are others, Luke Mann, all of them would agree with the same information. A lot of them have this information. A lot of them have been interviewed for this information. So, and we have, again, the book, Who Killed the Messenger, has even more so information. And then we have 3 and 4 that's being finished as we speak. Part 3 of Who Killed Minister Malcolm X, Why Was He Killed? Part 2, right, that is in depth. It is in depth. And in the preface, in the interview, this was told to me by the late Sister Betty X. Shabazz when I was a smaller reporter. Called myself a reporter, but they came. A speech was taking place, and there was a commemoration of Minister Malcolm where Sister Betty came, and I was able to get the information. This was told to me by the late Betty X. Shabazz by her late husband, Minister Malcolm X. This is what he said: "When I am assassinated, it will be a collaborative effort between the Black Muslim movement and the United States government." Now, when he said the Black Muslim movement, in a sense that when he made this plain, that there were infiltrators, plants, agents that have been placed inside of the Muslim movement, right? Informants that have been paid inside of the Muslim movement by the government that would do whatever it took to divide the Muslim movement, to change the atmosphere. One of them spoke. One of them spoke about the atmospheric change. And this is government talk. When you say the atmosphere, the climate, this is government talk. I don't find no brothers on the streets, outside the conscious brothers going to tell you about a climate change, climatic change. This is government talk. So she admonished me, the white man, this is Sister Betty X. Shabazz, and I recorded it. This is very old, so you can find it in some of my earlier writings. She admonished me, the white man shall never lead nor support any effective Black leader before the oppressed masses. Beware of any Black person that the white media keeps before the camera. Take it from me, they can't be good for the Black mass. This was told to me in an interview with Sister Dr. Betty X. Shabazz in 1988, before my mentor and colleague, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, along with my grandfather, Reverend Pastor Samuel Rogers. And that's me. I wrote it, Dr. Mauricelm-Millere, or otherwise known as Minister Mauricelm X. So this is accurate information, brothers and sisters, that you can have. And I will put this information up from anyone. If you want to know the truth, go to the horse's mouth. Get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. If you want to know the truth, get it from the place or the person for which or to which it happened, or someone that is attached from the person to which it happened, that you do not have to debate nor compete. Okay? So in the preface, because what we did was we broke down the epilogue. We broke down the epilogue. So chapter 1 became the preface. We dissected that. When it says, as a Muslim, the follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I struggled heavily to make sense of the killing of Minister Malcolm X to no avail. Who could better answer the question of who killed Minister Malcolm X and why was he killed, if not his wife? According to Sister Betty X. Shabazz, killing Minister Malcolm was seen by many Muslims as a badge of honor. What's more, Louis X. Farrakhan, an adjutant protege to Minister Malcolm X, my husband, who declared his love for Minister Malcolm X in one breath, praised Minister Malcolm X killers once they assassinated him before his wife and children in another breath. Again, I say, Black Muslims pulled the trigger that took the life of our brothers in broad daylight before his wife and children, who sat unguarded in the audience. Minister Malcolm was killed without the approval of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I repeat, it can be proven that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not involved. I can say with a surety we have the facts now by federal affidavit that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had nothing to do with the assassination of Minister Malcolm X. He forbade the attacks against Minister Malcolm X and his family. He sought to restore Minister Malcolm, but rogue NOI and FBI had other plans. Also, he, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, sent an alarm out to Minister Malcolm X before the assassination to speak to the coup d'etat, federal infiltrations taking place in the Nation of Islam. The rift was by deliberate federal design to disguise 6 CIA informants. Among them were Gordon Parks, who served as Malcolm X's photographer, Waradeen Muhammad, son of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Gene Roberts, who served as Minister Malcolm X's private personal bodyguard, as well as 6 FBI agents, among them Waradeen Muhammad, was talking about the COINTELPRO, which is an agency with the FBI and the CIA. So these guys were double agents. That's what I'm trying to say. They were double agents. Waradeen Muhammad, otherwise known as Minister Wallace Muhammad, Louis Eugene Walcott, otherwise known as Minister Louis X. Farrakhan, Gordon Parks, NOI Press Secretary John Ali, Captain Youssef, and others whose job was to create division or rift between the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his most beloved minister, Minister Malcolm X, as well as redefine the teachings of the Nation of Islam and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We will discuss this fully in part 3, Who Killed Minister Malcolm X, Why Was He Killed, the epilogue, and in-depth behavioral historical research. We will also discuss Minister Louis X. Farrakhan and Malik Zulu Shabazz, the rise, fall, and assassination of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. You have to, because if you study, we found information by studying the death of Minister Malcolm. We found information of how to deal with the research and rise, fall, and assassination of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And of course, that time hasn't come yet for Dr. Khalid Muhammad, so we can't discuss that now. But the time is coming where we will have to discuss that. So chapter 2, preface, the poisoning of the messenger. And I want to say this too. There was a story I did on Hashim Mzinga and Malik Zulu Shabazz. And Malik is an agent. Someone told me that it was taken down. They said that I spoke some stuff in there that I shouldn't have, and it's not true. Everything I've spoken there is the truth. But here's the thing. They don't want you to know about the government informants that they have. The same thing, just like Taharqa Bey. He wrote all of that negative stuff. Everybody was supposed to be an agent and this and that. This man, Taharqa Bey from Morris World TV. He was attacking everyone. So the nationalists had gotten together to trap him because they know to get him to do a story on me. And once he began to do the story on me, because they were already sending out information, they began to send me information about him being and I'm talking about legal documents that I uploaded to send out. Legal documents. And I'm not the only one that knows this. They sent the same information to Sarnetta. Sarnetta all you got to do is go on his show and you can see he has recording of the same information. Taharqa Bey being a lifetime pedophile, registered pedophile, lifetime registered sex offender, drug dealer, repeat offense from the time he was a child to his adult age. And not only that, but this brother has been given houses, rental property, Moorsign Templar building, right? So he has all of this stuff. He's not intelligent. Some of the researchers, when they researched it, he wasn't very intelligent, and he was in special need classes. And so he go out and he lies without, it's like with no effort he lies. He's habitual liar. But his job as an agent was to go and find every leader to speak of them. Anybody that had any major influence, to go and speak of them as false leaders. He had to. And then he told me, because he would talk to me after, this is how twisted he was. He would talk to me after the shows, and I knew what he was doing, knew that he was building up to attack me, because his own people gave me the information on him. So I already knew it, but that was part of the plan. He went and told me, he said, he's going to be the next Malcolm X. I said, well, brother, how you going to be the next Malcolm X attacking other leaders? You're trying to put the dirt out on them so that you can look squeaky clean? And he said he's changed his life around. He's putting out a book. I mean, who does that other than when you have to have a design to try to dirty up other people so you can make your image seem clean. Hell, if you're going to change, just come on out. You don't have to demonize anybody. But this is the design of the enemy. And he will use any black person, to come against the machine. I'm not talking about to discuss truth, because we have to discuss truth. But I'm talking about when you go on to get lies from people that hate each other or working against each other, right, to try to validate your story. What we're doing is the truth. We're researching the truth to put it out. That's different. Anything other than that is muckraking and running amok. And brothers and sisters, we shouldn't have anything to do with that, because there's nothing that's hidden that should not be revealed. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And so it was a poisoning of the messenger, the second part of the research of the epilogue. The poisoning of the messenger. It's also important to note that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was induced with double doses of oral treatment of corticosteroids or corticosteroid. These are pills for asthmatic bronchitis, which was poisoning his system and causing mental delirium. In short, Mr. Muhammad was being poisoned and assassinated. And Louis X. Farrakhan has alluded to this in many of his speeches concerning the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Why not keep him in the dry climate, such as his residence in Arizona, which was much better for his health? Why hasn't Minister Louis X. Farrakhan ever initiated an investigation on the death of Mr. Muhammad? This is a question that most certainly you should be asking yourself. Let's take a look at the dangers of corticosteroid. Corticosteroid drugs, including cortisone, hydrocortisone, and prednisone, are useful in treating many conditions such as rashes, inflammatory bowel disease, and asthma. But these drugs also carry a risk of various side effects. How do corticosteroids work? When prescribed in doses that exceed your body's usual level, corticosteroids suppress inflammation. This can reduce the signs and symptoms of inflammatory conditions such as arthritis, asthma, or skin rashes. Corticosteroids also suppress your immune system, which can help control the condition in which your immune system mistakenly attacks its own tissues. How are corticosteroids used? Corticosteroid drugs are used to treat rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, asthma, allergies, and many other conditions. These drugs also help suppress the immune system in order to prevent organ rejection in transplant recipients. Corticosteroids also treat Addison disease, a relatively rare condition where the adrenaline glands aren't able to produce even the minimum amount of corticosteroids that the body needs. Corticosteroids are administered in many different ways depending on the condition being treated. By mouth, tablets, capsules, syrup help treat the inflammation and pain associated with certain chronic conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. By inhaler and intranasal spray, these forms help control inflammation associated with asthma and allergies. In the form of eye drops, these forms help treat swelling eyes after surgery. Topically, creams and ointments can help heal many skin conditions. By injection, this form is often used to treat muscles and joint symptoms such as pain and inflammation and tendinitis. Now, we're reading all of this so you can know what side effects can corticosteroids cause. Corticosteroids carry a risk of side effects, some of them which can cause serious health problems. When you know what side effects are possible, you can take steps to control the impact. Side effects of oral corticosteroids, because of corticosteroids affect your entire body instead of just a particular area, the route of administration is most likely to cause side effects. Side effects depend on the dose of the medication you can receive and may include fluid retention, causing swelling in your lower legs, high blood pressure, problem with mood swings, memory, behavior, and other psychological effects such as confusion or delirium, upset stomach, weight gain, and fat deposits in your abdominal and face and the back of your neck. When taking oral corticosteroids longer term, you may experience elevated pressure in the eyes, such as glaucoma, clouding of the lens in one or both eyes, such as cataract, a round moon face, high blood pressure, which can trigger worsened diabetes, increased risk of infection, especially in common bacterial, viral, and fungal microorganisms, thinning bones, osteoporosis, and fractures, suppress adrenaline gland hormones production that may result in a variety of signs and symptoms, including severe fatigue, loss of appetite, nausea, muscle weakness, the skin bruising, and slower wound healing. So we see it causes a massive amount of problems. But most importantly, brothers and sisters, I want you to understand that it causes delirium. So anybody on this medication can't be responsible for what they say, because when they're in pain, they can be forced to say anything. If you become addicted to the medicine and the medicine is held back from you, then you'll say anything to get it. Isn't it possible that this could be used against the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he's already sick, already being poisoned, for them to make him say anything? But I respect the fact that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad still will not be manipulated, so he only spoke truth in the face of all of this. When he was constantly being poisoned, they leaned in hard on him. I want you to understand, if they moved Malcolm out of the way, then there was no one else to be in the way of what they wanted to do. That's what I want to tell you. We have to be wise. We have to be wise to understand what's going on in our community. There's so much going on. But we got to be wise to understand it. What is happening in our community? Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? And if we understand what's happening, then we'll know how to maneuver around it. But first we have to understand and accept what's happening. We have to understand and accept it. And it's okay. You might get mad with me, but it's all right. Because I'll tell you, I believe every individual that the media spoke about was involved. We have proof to suggest that all of them were involved. They were paid. Many of them were paid to do time in prison, but we could never bring back Minister Malcolm. We could never bring back what was taken from his daughters or his wife. We couldn't bring it back. We can't bring that back. Sorry will not handle that. The only thing that we can do now is make sure that we have protection around our real leaders. Farrakhan is not in danger. Farrakhan is no threat to the U.S. government. He's never been a threat to the U.S. government. Listen, Mustafa, I did a recording about this sometime last year. We found out that, matter of fact, talked about it on the Asian show, Taharka Bay. We found out that Mustafa Farrakhan was a lieutenant on the Harvey, Illinois Police Department. Now, you can go back and find this information. All you got to do is pull it up. Farrakhan's son was a police lieutenant. All you got to do is pull it up. He's not in any danger. He's not there working with the enemy. And you pull this up. Anybody that listens to the show, pull it up and challenge me. If you pull up Mustafa Farrakhan and the Harvey Police Department, you'll find that he was a part of it. If they don't take it down, you'll find that he's a part of it. And if they do take it down, all you got to do is go back to Morris World TV on the Taharka show and at least pull up the information. If he hasn't taken it down. But I don't think he'll close that show because he had to work to get those shows up, so he got to leave them up. And but at least the information that I produced was accurate. Everything that I produced was accurate on there. So my point is simply this. What you think you see, you don't see it. What you think you see, you don't see. Farrakhan is not under any real danger. How old is Farrakhan? I think he's 91 years of age. Maybe 92 this year. As a matter of fact, he and I was born the same month. Minister Malcolm was born the same month. And Sister Betty was born the same month. Farrakhan was born May the 11th, I believe, 1930. May the 11th, 1930 or 1933, something like that. And I believe he'll be 92 this year, maybe 93. Matter of fact, what, 20, 24? He'll be 94 this year. And they're fighting to keep him alive because they don't know who's going to replace him. Ismail Muhammad can't do it. His message is too soft. But maybe that's what they're going for, to disperse all of the nation's teaching. That may be the very thing that they're going for. But God will provide someone who's going to lead his people in truth and will keep the Nation of Islam going, because it's the best thing that we got going. The teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the best thing that we got going, which tell us separation or death. And I find it strange that Sister Ava Muhammad, who was doing well, has passed before Farrakhan. All of these leaders that come up to prominence are passing before Farrakhan, who's closer to the grave. You got to question that, brothers and sisters. That can't be a coincidence. That can't be a coincidence. You got to question it. Before you say that the brother is insane, or that the brother just don't like Farrakhan, what reason would I have not to like Farrakhan? I got a brother that I love, but I wouldn't trust him to escort me to the back door, much less my family to the back door. And he's my blood brother. My blood brother. And all of you all have someone in your family that you love. That don't mean that you trust them. I'm just trying to appeal to you. Trying to appeal to you so that you could use your noodle. Use your brain. Use your brain. That's all. I'm just trying to appeal to you so that you could use your brain. You have to understand that, because you can't talk about the death of Minister Malcolm X and not talk about the death of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You can't do it, because both of those were targets. Both of these were targets for the white man. They were both targets. We have to say it. We got to be honest about it, brothers and sisters. We got to be honest about it. Both of these were targets. And once both of these targets have been hit, Lord, behold, here come Louis Farrakhan, here come Wallace Waradeen Muhammad. You have on the one hand, you got the American Islamic movement called AIM, and then you had the new Nation of Islam. First of all, it was named that. Then it was named the Nation of Islam, right? Because Wallace Waradeen Muhammad and Farrakhan had come together to have these names. Now, what you should be asking yourself: why did Wallace Waradeen Muhammad go and create an American Islamic movement when those people over there don't care anything about us? They're as racist, if not more racist, than the oppressors we have here, because they ran the slave trade, the Arab slave trade. That's a matter of history. And that's the reason why we got to know. Now, they stole, these Arabs were the second wave of Hyksos, or white people, who made it among us, went inside of the cave, came back, got into the diplomacy, and began to take our people captive. They were the second. They were the second. The first one that did it were the Yacobites, or the Minoans. See, these things have to be discussed so that you'll know exactly what's going on. These things have to be discussed, but you'll never discuss it. You'll never discuss it. You'll never get to it by hiding the truth. You'll never get to it. You worried about Farrakhan's feeling. He's counting on that. He's counting on it. And if he knows that you care more about how he feels than you care about the truth, then he's not going to worry about it. Why would he be worried about getting to the bottom of the truth if he knows that you are more concerned about how he feels rather than the evil that he's done? I'm just asking you. I'm just asking. This is something that I want to know. I need to know. But it's still something that you should be asking yourself. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it because he knows that he can put the guilt trip or the guilt complex on you and start talking about how we're dividing people. Now, and many of them are going to say this. Many of them are going to say it. When they hear this story, so all you got to do is wait on it. When they hear this story, first thing they're going to say is, the brother, he losing his mind. The brother needs to watch his step. The brother is in some dangerous territory. The brother is on a course of self-destruction. Here I am on a course of self-destruction, right? And every time somebody gets killed, and this man is close to him, because that's what he is. He's a man. Nobody Messiah. He's a man, right? And any Messiah that is born among black people have to expect death. See, this is the teaching that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. See, this is the teaching that he taught. He would come before the people. You could ask him a question. You can't ask Farrakhan a question. Matter of fact, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad would have dinner with his ministers so that they could ask questions and would appear before the people so that you could too. He was in front of us and directing us spiritually, politically, religiously, and otherwise, but he himself was a religious leader. And religion can critique politics. Religion is the one science that can critique any system that's going on in this planet and around the globe. Religion, properly lived, can do that. Righteous living can judge all things because they're not taking part into the things that's happening in the world. And that's what you and I have to understand. We have to accept. Now, in the light that we accept this, we have to realize that because we accept it, there are some people that's going to come against you. They're going to say, oh, says, brother, every time you turn around, you're speaking against Farrakhan. I've had own men. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. I've had grown men to get angry with me because I questioned Farrakhan. I mean, he got angry. I'm wondering, because I don't understand. You have to know that I just don't understand. But I wondered to myself, why would somebody get angry for another person asking a question? I don't get that. Why would you get angry for somebody asking a question? It makes no sense to me. But nonetheless, there are those that have gotten angry because you're not supposed to question Farrakhan. You're not supposed to question Farrakhan. And here's the thing. If somebody will turn on a person, they'll turn on you. If they'll speak evil of someone, they'll speak evil of you. That's why we're taught not to speak evil. Isn't that right? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that in his teaching. Don't speak evil of anyone, brothers. As Muslim, you should be trying to unite. What did Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad say? If a Muslim is hungry, you should feed him. You should go to them with some food. Is that right or wrong? He teaches the humanity of the brotherhood. He's teaching that. We're human. We're civilized. We're intelligent people. We're humankind. We're civilized. We're intelligent. And we follow the teachings of our ancestors. We're man. We come from human, right? We're intelligent in a general sense. And we listen to our ancestors. And we carry these things to operate right from our ancestors. These are the levels of civilization. These are levels of intelligence of the human race. Humankind and man. But mankind is not a part of the human race. You have to understand that mankind is a kind of man. Mankind is a kind of man, and they'll do anything. They're subject to do anything. You got to understand that. That they are subject to do anything. You should be researching how you can get to the bottom of a lot of situations that have happened in the black community without worrying about hurting anybody's feeling. Another thing, and we're not going to talk about it right now, but we're going to talk about it a lot later, because we're going to talk about him, a charlatan named Dick Gregory. Minister Malcolm didn't trust Dick Gregory, and Dick Gregory was no friend to Minister Malcolm. All you got to do is, see, when these people lie, they forget. When they lie, they forget. And that's the thing. If you tell the truth, you ain't got to worry about forgetting. But if you lie, you may forget. Now, I'm not talking about your memory to recall. I'm saying something different than what you said before. Because you can have a memory lapse. You can have a memory lapse and not be able to recall something. But if you're telling the truth, the core of what you're trying to say is going to be there, and you'll remember that. You see? And then once you remember that, then you'll be able to recall your memory. But I'm talking about somebody who lies. When they lie, they'll tell several different lies. When they lie, they'll tell several different lies. But they be on everyone else about telling the truth. That's how you know a liar. A liar doesn't trust anyone, then they're on everyone else about telling the truth. Not get to the bottom of the situation. But they literally don't trust anyone. They'll come to you, talking to you about somebody else. I'm not talking about speaking openly in a forum, see, because when you speak openly, then you expect to have some give and take, some Q&A in that. But the liar will go behind a person. They'll talk about this person. They'll say, don't say nothing. And they'll leave from that person because they're an instigator. They'll leave from that person. They'll say something else about that person to you, or rather you to that person. And then they say, don't say anything. And the minute both of y'all get together, they act like the peacemaker. They act like your friend. Both of them do it. And who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Somebody in your life, you met that has said that. Somebody in your life you have met that has said that. But also, there's a group of people that has acted that way since the beginning that you came into their company. And what I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, is just be careful, beware. Be careful, beware of the company that you keep. See, I have to start saying that, I was warned to speak enough truth to allow you to come to the conclusion of some things on your own. And I agree with that. I agree with that, and I'll go for that. I agree and I'll go for it. So people need to come up to the conclusion and understanding. Some people you may want to tell them. You may want to tell them. But they'll do you more harm than good. If you tell them the truth and you're looking out for them, they'll do you more harm than good. I got a cousin like that. The people around him constantly damaging him, constantly damaging him. And somebody that'll try to do something nice for him, he'll backstab him. No, his discernment is horrible about people. He has horrible discernment. But here's the reason. The reason is that he treats people bad. So because he treats people bad, then eventually he ends up getting treated bad. Because he talks about everybody, then eventually everyone start talking about him. Well, that's the truth. That's the truth. You can't trust him. You can't trust nothing that he says. And he's always in the middle of something. You know people like that. I know you do. I know you know people like that. Always in the middle of something. Always in the middle of something. Knowledge I put out, I really don't care. Don't care about anyone getting upset or anything like that, because I already know that anything that you do where you have to tell the truth or sacrifice your livelihood, right? That's the right way to go. And I'm determined to do right. I'll do right. And I just know that other people, I don't worry about it, because I know God got righteous people out there. And if you're telling the truth, I believe God has enough righteous people that are going to go along with you. I have enough faith to believe that. And I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work hard to push this information back up. I'm going to work hard to get busy for you in the field. And I'm going to organize and be going to different states, doing these speeches again, so that you and I will be able to do the work. And I want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for all your support. Certainly thank you for all your support. Anything that I do now and do in the future, I won't be able to do it without you. I won't be able to do it without you. And it's just foolish to think that you can do something on your own. It's foolish to think that we can do anything on our own. If we're going to be successful, then we're going to have the use of each of us. We will have to come together and become the change that we seek in our community, brothers and sisters. It won't happen unless we do it. You and I will have to be responsible for that change. And it's time now for us to get involved in that revelation. And it's this revelation that will bring a revolution inside of our community, brothers and sisters. We don't have to get out and march. All we have to do is take the word to brothers and sisters that are suffering. The ones that are suffering in our community. If you and I would take the word to some brothers and sisters that are in the darkness, that word will become light, right, to that brother and sister. And this is the light that became flesh and dwelt among us, brothers and sisters. We have the Messiah being risen up among us all together. It's not one, but it's many of us, right? There are many of us, right, in one body. That is the messianic. That is the messianic body. We got to be wise, brothers and sisters. We have to be wise in our standing. We have to be wise in our intelligence. We have to constantly grow in this knowledge. We got to constantly grow in this knowledge. It's not going to happen. It won't happen if we seek to cover up. It won't happen if we seek to turn a blind eye to the evil that's happening in the black community. Because I want you to know one thing before I go. I want you to know that any evil that happens in the black community against someone else, the same evil is happening to you. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. And I want you to know that the spirit of evil can work through anyone. It can work through your friend. It can work through your brother, your father. It can work there. Right? So we have to put ourselves around individuals. Right? Within the family. Right? Within the family. And I say family, I mean a bigger family. Because all of us have the blood of the holy Messiah in our body. And to get with someone who's thinking like-minded and has the same heart, and has the same emotion, the same love for the people. And we get with these people, brothers and sisters, that God has set aside for us, then the deliverance is nigh. And the Messiah, the spirit of the Messiah, will continue to rise in all of us, that we may be deliverance to one another. For in unity there's strength, brothers and sisters. We can't do anything alone, but we work together. There's nothing that we can't do. And I want to appreciate you for this time, the time that you've given me. And at this point, I'm going to sign off. And I love you, brothers and sisters. This is Love Talk. If it wasn't Love Talk, I wouldn't tell you. So I love you. And I say unto you, peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.